My mom has 6 different kids, all from different fathers. I'm the oldest and I live with my dad. Due to the legal system being flawed over here, she got full custody even though my dad was clearly a better fit. So I lived with my mom until I was 18 and finally moved in with my dad. She was on baby number 4 by the time I left home, and my oldest sibling was 7. I'm living with my dad and life is great. He got married to a lovely woman, and my brother, 28, is awesome. I have a new sister-in-law, 31, nephew, 8, and my longtime girlfriend, 19, also lives with us. My dad was able to start a little company when he met my now stepmom and pretty much hit gold. My mom was never happy about the fact that I moved out, mostly because without me she doesn't have free childcare. I also feel like she's jealous. She called me up yesterday to spare details. She started talking about how she and my siblings miss me and I owe it to her to move back and help her. I don't know why, but I snapped. You have an open door policy between your legs, and as a result you keep having different kids from different dads. I lived with you because the legal system was forcing me to, and you didn't treat me like a son. You treated me like your free baby caretaker. Now you expect me to give up this blessed fortunate life just to go and live in a horrible moldy apartment and take care of 5 kids. Will you go out and keep getting loved by strangers raw? Goodbye Jane, fake name. I don't know what came over me. That was the first time I'd ever spoken to her or anybody like that. I told the family. They weren't exactly thrilled about it, but they weren't mad at me. The general consensus was that it was my right to live wherever I want, and it's my right to tell my mom how I feel, but I'm basically kicking somebody. Well, they're already down, and I could have chosen much nicer words to decline my mom. Am I the idiot? Everyone's the idiot here. You're getting a lot of validation in the comments, and it's worth keeping in mind a lot of people here love manufacturing drama. Your mom is the idiot for her expectation that you move back home. It's ridiculous and entitled. You're an adult and you live where you like. That said, you're the idiot for the language you used. Super vulgar, but also weirdly specific and derogatory about her life. There's nothing wrong with having a lot of love, even raw. Gross. The problem is she keeps having kids and then caring for them poorly. You could have simply said, your kids are not my responsibility, and left it at that. I agree with your family here. If you did that you would have kept the high ground. Your mom is the idiot for obvious reasons. You're the idiot for lashing out. Taking aside all the bad history between you two, this is a woman who has 5 other kids all under 9. That's hard for 2 parents, never mind someone on her own. Hell yes, that is her own fault, and you are not obligated to help her, live with her, or even talk to her. But at the end of the day, this is a woman who is in a horrible situation, and you basically poured salt in her wound and spit in her face, then left to live your great life with your other family. Everyone's the idiot here. Yes, she was using you, but I definitely think you acted like an idiot. There were better and more mature ways of expressing your emotions. I don't know if you have brought up your issues to her in the past, but if this is the first time she's heard this from you, then I think it was the wrong way of going about it. I'm not saying you need to maintain a relationship with your mother. But I do think being kind in life is a virtue. Holding on to these emotions is only going to hold you back. When I 17 was 14, my older sister who was 18 at the time fell pregnant. We were always close growing up, and I was the first family member she told apart from her friends. I was confused on how everything would work out considering she had already been accepted to her dream college and had just begun her senior year in high school, but I just assumed she would have to make accommodations for her baby. She didn't. She gave birth before graduation, partied all summer before college and flew off, leaving my infant nephew alone with me and my parents. Since my parents both work a lot, I was left to watch my nephew and basically had to sacrifice a lot of my free time babysitting. I couldn't even work an after-school job because there was no one to watch him, but my parents paid me out of pocket so I could have some cash whenever I was free. We expected my sister to send money home for my nephew or to even FaceTime to check up on him. She never did. Whenever my mom would call to bring up my nephew, she would listen to what she said, but she never asked about him or his well-being. This caused a major rift between us since I felt like I was doing so much in raising him while she didn't even seem to care about her own child. In the summers she would go out every night and didn't spend a moment with my nephew. They would be in the same room on opposite sides. He doesn't even call her mom. This has been going on for 2 years. She's back on winter break and again, she refuses to spend any time with my nephew. I don't even think she's even had to babysit him once. If my parents leave for work or to go somewhere, they know she will find an excuse to leave the house as well, so they have to schedule everything around me. I was holding my nephew yesterday pissed because I had plans to go to the movies with my friends, but my mom was called into work. I went into my sister's room and asked her to watch my nephew. She started getting up saying she has plans with an old friend who's only gonna be in town for a little bit. I said, "Do you hate your son that bad you can't be alone with him for 2 hours? You don't have the right to call yourself a mom. The only thing you've done is be pregnant. You're a disgrace and don't think he won't remember this." She started crying and ran to my mom, reiterating what I said. She then called me an idiot and blocked my number and all my social medias. So, am I the idiot? Not the idiot. She had no intentions to be a mother and clearly isn't one. Props to you though, you keep caring for your nephew like your own. He will repay you with love forever. Once he is much older and knows everything that went down, he'll be forever grateful for you and your parents. He'll resent his mother and she'll be jealous of the love he gives you. You keep doing you, you're a great person. Ignore your soulless sister. Not the idiot. Someone needs to try to snap her back to some reality of this child existing and needing her too. But your parents have enabled her to be like this. She could have gone to school locally and still have been involved with raising her child. She was only able to leave him because your parents let that happen or encouraged it. So she didn't bond with this child and maybe didn't want this child. But every step of the way, apparently no one has made an effort to make her take responsibility. So your parents will now raise another child for the next 16 years or so. I'm not sure where you live and what kind of resources and options was offered to your sister, like abortion or adoption, but she made a choice to have the baby and then not making accommodations for the baby. She can't just dump a newborn on someone and just live her life like she's not a mom. You're only a teenager and you didn't ask for this, and I'm sorry that the burden is on you. You need to talk to your parents about them putting their foot down with your sister or find a better home for the baby because you can't be the guardian. You have your own life to lead. My brother is getting married in a few months. I have been asked to be in the wedding party. I'm in my early 30s and have been getting tattooed once every year or two since I was 20, so by now I have a number of tattoos. They're all well done and no offensive and shocking designs. Mostly they are nature and abstract art. No one in my family really likes my tattoos, but it's not their body or their money, so their comments never bothered me much. Sometimes good tattoo artists have long waiting lists. There's an artist I've been trying to get an appointment with for years, and recently his receptionist contacted me saying they had appointments available. I booked one and got a new piece a few weeks ago. It never occurred to me to think of the wedding before getting it done, and besides, I already have so many tattoos that why would one more make any difference? But my brother saw the tattoo in one of my social media photos and contacted me upset that my new tattoo will be a distraction during the wedding and in the pictures. The dress that he and the bride picked for the wedding party is short and strapless. I offered to wear a different outfit that covers more skin, but they also think it would be distracting for me to not match the rest of the party. I asked why my older tattoos didn't bother them, but the new one did, and they said it's because they had to accept the old ones and thought I'd respect them by not getting any more. I don't really understand how it has to do with respect. Am I the idiot for not thinking of the wedding pictures before booking my tattoo? I'm married, I get that wedding photos are expensive and you want them to look good, but I don't think it's right to dictate your wedding party's appearances other than choosing their clothes. Not the idiot. Sick of all this bride and groomzilla bullcrap, being worried about their guests or wedding party distracting from the day. I'm getting married next year. The bridesmaids are wearing navy, but they can choose their styles and hair. I want them to be comfortable and to enjoy themselves. I wouldn't want them worrying about upsetting me because they made a personal choice for themselves. People get way too into themselves when their wedding comes up. Your tattoo choices have sod all to do with them. I actually was in a very similar situation. I was in a wedding for a high school friend, and about 2 months before the wedding I got a large pin-up tattooed on my right arm. The couple was mortified that my tattoo was going to show in their wedding pics. It honestly never crossed my mind that anyone would care. People are way too heavily invested in other people's choices for personal style and artistic expression. In my opinion, a person who would be offended by another's choice to get a tattoo in any circumstance is a gigantic idiot. Not the idiot, brother is, however. You already have tattoos. Depending on placement, this probably is not a major change to your appearance, given that you already have more than a few. Your new tattoo is not disrespecting your brother, he is attempting to exert control over you and your body. You have tattoos, so what? They will show in the wedding pictures, ruining their planned tableau. You offered to cover up, but they acted insulted. If they really care this much about your appearance, they can drop you from the wedding party. My son cheated on his wife with another woman and got the other woman pregnant. After a lot of counseling and soul searching, my son and his wife decided to remain married. They have 3 kids, 2 girls and a boy, who are obviously my grandchildren. I am very close with them and have spoiled them since they were born. I have no relationship with the child my son had with the other woman. I believe he is almost 2 now. I think it would pain my daughter-in-law, who is like my own daughter. I have known her since she was in her young teens, if I had a real relationship with this child. She never talks about him at all. As for my son, I know he pays child support. I believe he sees the child only occasionally though. Maybe once every few months, I'm not sure. Anyhow, the child's mother reached out to me. Apparently she got my number from my son. She told me who it was and basically asked if I wanted to have a relationship with my grandson. I said I wasn't sure it was a good idea and she hung up the phone. I obviously told my son about this phone call. He said he gave the woman my number, but he didn't know what she was going to say. When I explained what she wanted, he had no reaction. So I dropped the subject. I'm posting this on a new account because I prefer not to have my personal family business on my primary one. I am just looking for impartial judgment. Everyone's the idiot here. Your son for obvious reasons. The other woman for obvious reasons. The daughter-in-law for choosing to stay married to your son and not expecting him to have a relationship. She didn't choose to be cheated on. She did choose to stay married to him knowing there was a child. You for not doing anything about your grandchild. And for thinking of the adult who had a choice and not your grandchild who didn't. No idiots here, the child is innocent, your daughter-in-law is innocent, your son is, okay, he's huge idiot here for starting this whole mess. Like another poster suggested, maybe have a heart-to-heart with your daughter-in-law and see where she stands. Maybe she'll be okay if you see the kids, but keep him away from hers. That sounds wrong to me, but I come from a very large blended family on my husband's side. Most of his family is related only via marriages. I wish you the best OP. You're the idiot. That little boy is blameless, and instead of blaming your own son, you all take it out in the boy. This kid is not less your grandson, and not less his father's boy than the other kids. He deserves to get the same treatment the other kids get. I bet it's horrible to grow up knowing that your father and grandparents adore your siblings, but ignore you completely. It's time for all of you to face the consequences of your son's actions and embrace them. Even your daughter-in-law has to face the fact that she chose to stay with your son for the sake of that little boy. When I was a baby, my biological parents gave me up for adoption. This was before I could hold any memories of them, so I didn't know who they were or why they gave me up. Due to that, I grew up in an orphanage with no recollection of my biological family. I'm not sure how it goes in other countries, but here, the older the child is, the harder it is to find an adoptive family. Even with policies that make the prospect parent meet the kids, they usually pick newborn babies. Which is definitely understandable. I was pretty lucky, and when I was 8, my adoptive family met me at the orphanage and took a liking to me. I have to say, this was some time ago, and they are a same-sex couple. So I have 2 fathers. Back then, same-sex couples couldn't adopt as a family, so I was adopted under the name of a single one, and only in 2010, the laws allowed me to be properly adopted by both of them. I owe my fathers everything. I will never be able to repay all they have done to me. I love them more than anything, and I am very protective of them. Now, I am a medical student and just started my 2nd year of med school, following one of my father's footsteps. They're a doctor and a lawyer. However, recently, they were contacted by a group of people that said they were my biological family. They checked that with the orphanage, and the names actually matched the registry. So, they asked if they could meet me. I'll be honest and say I was not looking forward to this. I never felt like I needed my biological family. My adoptive family is my real family. But my parents told me I should meet them at least once. Which I accepted. I met them for dinner at their house. They seemed to be pretty nice folks at first. I learned that I actually have 3 siblings and they seemed to be nice. Although, I did feel like they were trying to push some sort of family feelings. Which was absurd to me, but I could understand where they were coming from. However, after dinner we were having some coffee and one of my siblings actually said something along the lines of, "Oh, I can't imagine what you went through, having your parents must have been awful." My biological parents then started rambling about how things changed and back in the day, folks wouldn't be allowed to be married and the world now was all wrong. At that moment, I lost my head. I told them they were the worst people I ever met and I wanted absolutely nothing to do with them. They should erase my number and forget I exist. So left, took a cab and got home. I didn't tell everything to my parents, just that things didn't work out. I don't want them to go through that. However, they are insisting that I resolve my issues and a few of my friends are saying I exaggerated. Honestly, I don't think I did. But I want to know. Am I the idiot here? Not the idiot. Nope. This was a terrible situation you found yourself in. For your biological family to show anything more than appreciation for the 2 wonderful men who stepped up and raised you is nonsense. You owe these people nothing. I think you need to be honest and tell your fathers what exactly happened and how you feel about what was said by bio family and how much you love your dads. Not the idiot. Even if they were completely friendly, you had absolutely no reason to have a relationship with them. Also, you know what sounds kind of messed up, they had other children that they could support whilst you sat in an orphanage until 8 years of age. Your fathers are the ones who deserve every ounce of your love, not these people. They want a relationship with you, but don't want to respect the people who cared for you, nurtured you, provided for you, and encouraged you to meet them. Screw those people. You have your family, the universe elected for you and your dads. And I know you don't want to hurt them, but I'd tell them exactly why you cut contact with your bio family, just so they don't have any Hallmark fantasies about how enriched your life will be with them and your bio family.